What's up, everybody? So we are going to go through the second part of my 122 card order to PSA, and gonna just go ahead and get started. So I think I have about 61 cards that I'm going to be showing you in this video, and starting off with some Aaron Judge cards. He's at 24 home runs this year. Injured himself, I think, again. I don't know. He's diving for a ball. He constantly gets hurt, but when he is healthy, the guy produces like crazy. Walks all the time, hits home runs, does everything. He's really the emotional leader of the Yankees, who, by the way, clinched the AL East last night, so I'm pretty happy. So anyway, this is his rookie card, 2017 Topps Update. This one came back as a 9. 2017 Bowman came back as a 10. Pretty awesome. I think I got this for like $5 with eBay bucks. So this one came back as a 10. Just Topps Chrome, Bowman Chrome are just so easy to get 10s on, PSA 10s on. And this one was no different. Speaking of which, another 10, 2017 Bowman's Best, Raking Rookies. This came back as a PSA 10. And then finally, the 2017 Topps Update, also on a PSA 10. And in the previous video, there was a foil that I also got this exact same card, rookie, in a 10. So pretty happy. We're looking at 4 10s and a 9. So I was happy with those results. Next up is the guy that might be hotter than anyone right now, Ronald Acuna, who became only the 3rd player ever to hit 40 home runs at the age of 21 years old. So that's pretty awesome. Plus, he has a shot at becoming the 5th player ever to get the 40 home runs and 40 stolen bases in a season. And so this Acuna came back as a 10. This is the regular Topps Update. Got a second one that also came back as a 10. And then the Topps Chrome came back as a 10. Pretty awesome. Then, of course, you have the Topps Update. That came back as a 10. This card is, I've been saying, he's probably the hottest player right now, and so it's probably a good time to sell and not to buy. But these cards are now going, just for this regular base card, is going for over $100 in some cases. And why not? Might as well get 2 of them. So pretty awesome. Both these cards came back as a 10, which was pretty awesome. Then Walker Buehler got a couple of his cards. Another awesome year for Walker Buehler, who's really become sort of the ace of the Dodgers, with a 3.15 ERA this year. Unfortunately, this one came back as an 8.5, and that one is numbered 5 of 25, but having a really, really nice year. And I actually have 2 of these, but only decided to only get one of them graded. I should have just gotten both of them graded. This one came back as a 10. I'm sure the other one would have came back as a 10 as well. And got this Mookie Betts 2014 Topps Chrome graded as well, and that came back as a 10. You know what? I'm just going to continue on with the modern cards, and then I'll get to the vintage at the end. Next up is my man, Greg Bird. That came back as a 9, and I think I talked about this being one of the worst purchases I've ever made. And there you can see here, 50 of 50. Bought this card during spring training, I think last year, when he was having a really nice spring training. And I was like, you know what? First base is all to him. It's all up to Greg Bird. And man, he's been injured, I think, for 2 years since I bought this card. And I think he resumed baseball activities yesterday, but he's hitting 170 for the year. So in case you guys are wondering what the heck happened to Greg Bird, well, he's injured and he's resumed baseball activities. We probably won't see him the rest of the year. Next up is 2013 Bowman Platinum. This is a Javier Baez prospect card. Having another nice year, but another guy that gets hurt a lot. Has 30 home runs on the season. Pretty cool looking X-Fractor card. Came back as a 10. Then, of course, this purple. I just love this card. Purple Mariano Rivera card. I thought this would get a 9. I was looking at this pretty closely, but I wanted to get it slabbed, so I was a little surprised it came back as a 10. Maybe they just see, like, PSA just sees Topps Chrome and Bowman Chrome and goes, that's a 10, without even really looking at it. I just love this card. It's so cool. Mariano Rivera purple. And then another purple card came back as a 10. This is the Chris Davis rookie card. One of the most underrated home run hitters in baseball. Having a down year, though. He's only got 22 home runs this year. Led the league with 48 home runs last year, and nobody cared. But these are really cool, these purple refractors. This is the 2013 Topps Chrome. Came back as a 10. Another player that, I don't know, maybe, he's kind of a big name, Springer, but, he's having another really nice year, 35 home runs. But PSA 10, he's had a couple of injuries here and there. So I feel like he's never had like a real full season to show what he can do. But this is a really cool card. Came back as a 10, the Topps update. Next card is this Domingo Germán, who literally, I think last night, got in trouble for domestic battery or something like that. I don't know. Who knows if he'll be able to even pitch for the Yankees the rest of the year. The Yankees need him. I feel like every time they get a player, they lose a player. I think that's just been like the entire season. So like they gained Severino but lost Betances. And they're about to get Stanton back, but they just lost Domingo Germán. So whatever. So this card came back as a 9. Then Javier Baez rookie card came back as a PSA 8. I don't know. This was, I guess you could see, I don't remember it being that bad when I submitted it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have submitted it. But that corner's a little dinged up. That came back as an 8. Next card, 2015 Panini Elite. This is a Vladimir Guerrero. Man, he's been kind of disappointing. I'm glad I didn't go all in on Vlad. He's only got 15 home runs and 450 plus at bats. There were huge expectations for this kid, and maybe he's putting too much pressure on himself. But 15 home runs, 270 batting average. Not the hitting stats that I guess a lot of people were expecting, but still a really awesome card, 2015 Panini Elite. And these cards look like they'd be tough to get a 10 on, so I was happy to get a 10. Next up is this guy, Raul Mondesi. He's also referred to as Alberto Mondesi. I think he has 39 stolen bases and 400 at-bats this year, so I don't know. He's one of those guys that he's a good guy to have on your fantasy team if you guys play fantasy, because he steals a lot of bases and plays, I forget if he's like a shortstop, second baseman, but there you have it. Kind of a cool card there. Next up is this 2018 Topps Chrome. Came back as a 10. This is the Bryce Harper. And this one is numbered 28 of 99. And Harper's got, 32 home runs, 100 RBIs, 92 runs scored. Not a terrible season for him. I think he's sort of, maybe people were expecting more out of him, but he's having another really nice 100 RBI season. So, maybe people are expecting more, but this one's a pretty cool card, number 299. Aaron Nola is up next, another Chrome card that came back as a PSA 10. This is the Prism Refractor. And he last year, I know he had a 2.37 ERA last year, a 3.75 ERA. So he's definitely regressed a little bit, but still a really nice card of Aaron Nola. Came back as a 10. Another 10, another Bowman Chrome, Chris Paddock, who's had a really nice rookie year, very quietly doing it for San Diego with a 3.33 ERA. So I was pretty happy to get that in a PSA 10. And this one's numbered to 150. This is the Blue Shimmer. Really nice first Bowman Chrome Chris Paddock card. Next up, this is a Francisco Mejia Also came back as a 10. Was one of the bigger prospects coming into this year, but he's unfortunately become more of a backup than anything else. I think he was injured the last couple of weeks, and then he came back and he was backing up Austin Hedges. So I don't know where this guy's career is going to go, but in the meantime, I have a refractor auto of the backup catcher for, I think, the Padres in a PSA 10. Then we got a Scott Kingery. This is a short print, but unfortunately came back as an 8. Having a decent year, nothing too special. Let's see, what has he got? 19 home runs, 258 batting average. Next up, Rhys Hoskins. This is a really cool sepia refractor rookie card of Rhys Hoskins. And we're looking at, a 30 home run, 90 RBI season for Rhys Hoskins. So really cool card there. This next card is Eric Pardino. He is he's only 18 years old. He's 5th ranked in the Toronto Blue Jays system, and he's from Brazil. And this is kind of a cooler card, numbered 5 of 50 of Eric Pardino. So really young kid. We'll see where his career how his career turns out. Next up is this 2017 Andrew Benintendi. Came back as a PSA 10, so I was definitely happy with that. And then 2017 Bowman draft, Vlad Guerrero came back as a 9. Got a couple more kind of modern cards, and then we'll get into the vintage. Next up is a guy that is number 1 ranked in the national system in terms of prospect. This Carter Kieboom. I remember pulling this out of a rookie explosion box. Came back as a PSA 10, which I was very happy with. A guy that is the number 1 prospect in the Brave system. This guy, Christian Pache, known for being an incredibly good defensive player. So we'll see when he gets the call. But this one got a PSA 10, the number 1 prospect in the Braves organization. Next up is this Eloy Jimenez. Came back as a PSA 10. Got this one graded for one of my buddies. Came back as a 10. Got this Tyler Skaggs. This is the only camo card I've ever pulled. And obviously he recently passed away. There's been a lot of kind of controversy around this. But you can see here, number 23 of 25. So I just thought it was kind of a cool card, and I'll never forget, the Angels throwing a combined no-hitter on like Tyler Skaggs, when they were remembering his life and career. They threw a combined no-hitter, and it's kind of cool just, owning this card, and it was really cool to get this coming back as a 10. And then I got 2 more in terms of modern. So we got Vlad Guerrero Jr. This 2019 Bowman Platinum came back as a 10. And then this guy, Peter Alonso, came back as a 10, 2019 Topps. He is at 49 home runs this year. What a year for Peter Alonso in his rookie year. He is 3 away from Aaron Judge's rookie record of 52. So we'll see if he ends up tying or breaking that record. But right now he's at 49 home runs. So those are all the modern cards. I got a whole stack, I think 16 cards from the 1960s. And again, all these cards came back as part of my vintage lot. Got this Johnny Cucks, came back as a 5. Again, a card that I thought looked really nice, but came back as a 5, unfortunately. Same thing with this Rocky Nelson. And you guys know I'm a big fan of the 1960 Topps set, so I figured I'd get a couple slabbed. And then, of course, the card that mattered, I submitted a couple of 60 Topps cards. This one turned out the best. PSA 6, and if I'm going to take anything as the best grade, it would definitely be the Stan Musial and not the Johnny Cucks. So I was pretty happy with getting this as a 6. I don't think this one looks nearly as nice as the other 2, but sure, I'll take a 6 on the Stan Musial. Next up, 61 Topps, Brooks Robinson, unfortunately came back as a 3. Again, rounded corners. Again, I don't expect much out of these cards because they were just kind of sitting in a box, not really well taken care of. But, you know, you kind of hope for, of course, better than a 3 there. Next one, 1961 Topps, Roger Maris. Thought this card was really cool to get slabbed. You know, as everyone knows, Roger Maris hit 61 in 1961, so thought this was kind of a cool card to get slabbed. Next up, also part of that 1961 Topps set, this Ernie Banks. Obviously a little off-center, but looks really, really nice. 1964 Topps, Willie Mays. Came back as a 4. And again, didn't expect much on these cards, but man, they look so much nicer in the slab. Next up was this Bob Gibson that came back as a 5, which again, I thought that was pretty generous. I'll take a 5 on the Bob Gibson. Then we have a 1966 Topps Sandy Koufax. And let's see. Only pitched to a 2.04 ERA that year. Man, 2.04. Not too good, Koufax. Just kidding. All right, then 1967 Topps Willie McCovey. I thought this card looked really nice. Came back as a 5. I'm not that surprised at it. You know, if you look at it, you know, a little bit more up close. But in terms of eye appeal, I thought this card looked really, really nice. Came back as a 5. This is a second-year Catfish Hunter. Came back as a PSA 6, and I was definitely happy with that. Next up is the 1967 Topps Fence Busters. So you got Willie Mays and Willie McCovey in there. So why not get that slabbed up? Fence Busters in a PSA 5, 1967. And then a 67 Topps Whitey Ford. Came back as a PSA 5. And then a couple of 1968 Topps cards. Got the Tony Oliva in a 5 and the Juan Marichal in a 5. Both really nice looking cards there. And then Mr. Bob Gibson, fan 17, sets a new record in, what was it? I think this was in the World Series. 17 strikeouts. Yeah, oh, there it is. World Series Game 1. It came back as a PSA 5. All right, and then a couple of cards from the 80s and 90s. Just a couple more to get through. And then I will have gone through all 122 cards of the order. This was obviously hoping for a 10 on these. I failed on every single one of them, but this is a Mookie Wilson rookie. This is a card I think I pulled it as part. I remember I was in the beginning of the year. I did a bunch of 1980 through 1989 Topps packs. I think I went all the way to like 2018, 2019, and this was one of the first packs that I opened. 1981 Topps had this Mookie Wilson in there. I thought, and Hubie Brooks came back as an 8, but still looks really nice. Came really close on the Harold Baines. Came back as a PSA 9. I thought this had a chance, but I noticed it was obviously a little off center, but it looked really, really nice. I was like, you know what? Sometimes PSA will give a 10, even if it's a little off center, but this might have been a little too much off center to give it a 10, but still Hall of Famer Harold Baines and a PSA 9. I actually submitted this for my buddy again. He got a PSA 8 on the 83 Topps Boggs. Got this. Now this, I submitted an 86 Fleer update, Barry Bonds, and it came back as a 10. So that was sort of my, you know what, maybe I'll try the 86 Don Russ and see if I can get a 10 on it. But this one came back as a lowly 8 on the 80. And this was one of those, like, I had the rookies, box and took the Bonds out of there. I submitted this for my buddy. I was like, I don't think I would submit it, but he wanted to submit it. So this one came back as a PSA 7. This one I kind of pulled out. I have a bunch of 89 Donruss, Ken Griffey Jr. rookies, and thought this one looked, one of the best ones. I was happy with a 9, obviously hoping for a 10. 10s are very hard to come by, mainly because of the black borders there. But I was like, if there's any card that can get a 10, I thought this one had a chance, but it came back as a 9. This one's funny because this one I had bought back when A-Rod first signed with the Yankees, way overpaid for a card that was in, like, I don't know if you guys ever saw these Gem. They don't. I don't even know if they exist anymore. This bogus grading company called Gem, and it was this card in a Gem 10 holder, and I submitted it in the Gem 10 holder to PSA a couple years ago, and it came back as a trimmed card. So what I did is I cracked it out of the Gem holder and then resubmitted it, and this time it came back as an 8. I have a feeling PSA, they see that it's in that Gem holder, and they're like, oh, it's trimmed. But now I cracked it out, handed it in raw, and it came back as an 8. And this final card is a card that, again, that I submitted for my buddy. It is a Roy Halladay 98 Donruss signature, came back as an 8. So there you have it, guys. I was very, very happy. Lots of 10s. I think I had almost 60 PSA 10s, and then if you consider the fact that half of them were vintage, and then cards from the 80s, I was very, very happy with this order. A lot of sort of lower end stuff, but I just had so much fun kind of putting it all together. And so there you have it, guys. Let me know your thoughts. And a lot of people have been asking if I'm selling. Right now, no, but I might consider down the road. But right now, it's just, to be honest with you, I'm too busy to list and sell and all that stuff. But if I ever do, I might consider selling some of these like lower end cards. But it was just fun kind of going through this whole process. So I'm at 21 minutes. This has been a long video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for everybody for watching. More stuff to come. And I will talk to you later. Peace out.